So, we're live once again. Today's episode, it's basically going to be more of a discussion. If you hear something in the background, it's called a fan. Hello. So, there's so many things we have to discuss on the show, such as new images of the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, the mega event crossover. The new images with Tom Welling from Smallville, Kevin Conroy, the Batman from Batman the Animated Series, playing Bruce Wayne, and other news such as Henry Cavill stating in an interview and on social media he is not giving up on playing Superman. Which I'm happy to hear that, because he's a damn good Superman, in my opinion. So, and there's other things I really want to talk about. There's a lot of the crazy Twitter of WWE going up against AEW, which kind of made me laugh. So, we are going to start the intro. We are going to come back real quick, and we're going to discuss a lot of things. I really want to discuss the Crisis on Infinite Earths image, and I kind of want to give my opinion. So, let's play the intro, and we'll come back real quick. So, Crisis on Infinite Earths is coming to television. It's going to be the mega event, this big event, huge event, television history for the DC. I was excited when they announced it at first. I was really excited more about the Michael Keaton cameo, the guy who plays Alexander Knox, and Batman's going to be making a cameo. All these things. I really loved it. I just loved the inclusion of the Batman and Batman Returns, and of course it's connected to Birds of Prey, which we talked about before, with the intro of old Gotham and new Gotham. And I really discussed Birds of Prey a lot, where I always said it's a very underrated show, not really appreciated for the substance. And it also fell victim to Batman, where people like me saw the intro, were like, where's Batman? I can't wait to see him show up. And it's like, Batman left Gotham. It's like, well, what the hell did he leave Gotham for? What happened to the old Gotham? What happened to, a lot of the old characters, like Two-Face, Joker, Riddler, And Batwoman, of course, is not only falling victim to the disrespect to Batman, but the backlash, but it's fallen victim to the social justice warrior, SJW feminism, not really feminism, but it's not really much feminism. They're using the, political version of it, but they are also, using the, women type thing of, she's a woman, but she's a lesbian type thing. So, I honestly don't think Batwoman will, I think Batwoman will be around for a second season, but I don't think it's going to become the hit that they had high expectations for it. But the problem of it is that it's on the really bad time. It's on Sundays in fall and winter against football. I mean, shit. I mean, look at WWE. The thing is, Batwoman should be on, in my opinion, Fridays against WWE, because it's like, really, who the hell watches WWE anymore? Especially had someone dressed in a dog costume. It's like, this is so sad and pathetic that major networks spend billions of dollars for shit entertainment. So, yeah. The people who really think Batwoman is such a good show has, to quote my favorite YouTuber, BC Amplified Man, they got a couple screws loose in their dome piece. They need to tighten that shit down, because that is not good entertainment. Batwoman is just basically using her cringeworthy, lesbian thing. And that's the thing I said in an early show, for those who've listened for such a long time, because we're close approaching the 100 episodes. I said on the show, and quote, that this show is going to fucking suck. Because the creator of the show, the showrunner's like, she's such a great, strong, interesting character. She's a woman and she's a lesbian. It's like, you can't use a person's gender and sexuality to make the character interesting. You have to come up with character traits and personalities. You can't just throw it like, she's a lesbian, she's a good character, she's interesting. People won't find that interesting. People will be like, this is dumb, and it just turn off the show. I mean, look what they did with Iceman. A character who has been a heterosexual straight man who dated so many women, all of a sudden, Jean Grey and Brian Michael Bendis' air quote, genius writing, mess with his mind going, Bobby, you're gay. And he goes, what? And all of a sudden, Bobby, the Iceman, is gay. Which was fucking dumb. You can't just force a character to change gender. I mean, not just, not change gender, but change sexuality and a, switch of a mind that quick. You can't just do that to a character. Especially a character who's been long established as a straight male character. I mean, Brian Bendis would do it, because Brian Bendis is a fucking cuck boy. He's a terrible writer. I know a lot of people will defend Bendis to the end, such as Dan Didio. This is why DC has been going on a really bad path of Shitsville. It's because of Bendis. You cancel Superboy, Super Sons, a comic book that's been so popular. I mean, it's not selling well anymore because they say it's not in the same continuity and same universe that people like. I mean, he fucked up Damian Wayne Robin. Damian Wayne is a vegetarian. When the fuck did he start eating hot dogs? Small traits of characters I find disrespectful. I know I'm a weird person. I'm a weird person with observing and knowing every character traits. Hello, to the point. So the thing for me is that it always bothers the fuck out of me how they mess with the characters' traits of taking Damian Wayne. Bendis can't write the Damian Wayne that well, in my opinion. It was kind of weird though how he aged, John Kent. That always bothered the shit out of me how they aged John. Because I liked him when he was a small kid and he was like learning to adapt, and all of a sudden Lois is like, I can't handle him, and she sends him to Jor-El, and all of a sudden, boom, he aged. So they released new images on Crisis on Infinite Earths on Cosmic Book News. I looked at the images. For me, I find it sort of interesting. Like, I'm excited to Tom Welling come back as Clark Kent. I know some people say Clark Kent Superman, but he was always Clark. Even though in Smallville comics, he accepts the name Superman. At the final page of the Smallville comics. That was like the one thing I was like, man, I'd rather hear him, rather hear the actor say I'm Superman than the comics. The Smallville comics I have to go through one day. I had to do an episode, really more of a 3-part episode to discuss it, because there was I think they wrote over 100 comics. I forget how many comics they wrote. They wrote them different storylines. One minute he is Superman, the next minute he is with the Lantern Corps. He was with the Titans. It was just really, for me, it was really an interesting comics, but I really liked the first volume where it just sort of picked up after the 10th season, which, it was so cool to see Lex. I remember the moment in the comic where Lex sees Clark and he's going you look familiar, and all of a sudden he has flashback memories of encountering Clark, and he's trying to figure out what the hell happened to him, and how does he have that memory of past encounters with Clark and stuff. So Crisis on Infinite Earths kicks off Sunday, December 8th with Supergirl, followed by part 2 on Monday, December 9th with Batwoman. Batwoman is it's really an interesting series to watch. I sat through the first episode. I seen what was it? I seen the clips of it on Twitter. I remember it was so cringy how everyone was writing how good the show is. And it was so cringy. I read this one post. I was so tempted to write a comment that points out. I had to find it on Twitter. I was just so... I had to find it. I felt bad for the girl who wrote it. I think she's happy. I think it's the first time she discovered a character that is similar to her. I don't know if it was a troll comment. I don't know if it was... I don't know what the hell it was. It was just... It's one of those... I don't know if it's I honestly believe it's a troll comment, because she wrote with emojis of different colors to match the rainbow and the rainbow flag, and it was just I don't know if she was trolling or she was just... Here it is. Nope, that ain't it. It's different, same video, different comment. Oh, what was that comment? I don't know. Hold on, I'm looking for the comments, so bear with me, everyone. I like some of these comments where people are this is so bad. It's I have a hard time believing that Ruby Rose is Batwoman. I seen her in the shark movie, that giant big ass fucking shark movie, and she's one of those people that are really good at being background characters where they don't have any dialogue. They just stand there and look at the main characters discuss things. But when I seen the first episode and how she's talking, trying to give this Batwoman dialogue, this monologue of Gotham. This is how Gotham, the history of Gotham and all these things. I sat there going she's not really. She sounds I remember just listening to her going she sounds like one of those bad animated movies where the voice actor sounds like a robot. I just sat there going like she doesn't have a voice where it's just basically her voice. Like she doesn't even have a voice modulator to change her voice to sound like a robot or some, robotic, deep, dark, growly voice. I mean, at least go do Christian Bale. Like, give that really shitty impression of a Christian Bale Batman. Just go at least do that instead of just sounding like yourself. Like, you totally went Clooney. You don't go Clooney. Where you just go like, hi, Freeze, I'm Batman. And all of a sudden he's at this, party. I'm Bruce Wayne. And, some criminal will be like, you sound like Batman. I'm not Batman. You sound like him. You just said the same tone of voice. It's just... I sat through this show and I just think, like, this is 7 kinds of not awesome. This is just... The writing of the show. I always come back to the writing. The writing of the show... They're trying to be preachy. They try to give this platform. They try to create this entire, discussion dialogue, which doesn't really have a discussion. It becomes more like being preached at, of like, this character is this. This is who she is. Accept it. If you don't, then you're homophobic. Type of thing, or you're sexist, or you're all these things. And it's like, if you ever watch Supergirl, which, take my advice, don't, unless you have insomnia. If you have insomnia, play that show and it'll put you to sleep. I watched like the first season of it and I just thought, like, this is not my type of show. Then I watched when they came around being like, we're gonna bring Superman in. I was just like, okay, I'll see it. I'll see where they go with it. I watched it. I'm like, this is... Oh, the show's over. And I... not returned. But, yeah, this is it. I found... it was the comment. This video. This woman wrote, "Oh, the power move, hell yeah." Laughing emoji, face, fist bump, 3 rainbow flags and stuff. Hashtag Batwoman. And all these people are like, right, Mary's the best. One person wrote, I like the name of it. The name of this person wrote, Edgy Femboy. I think this is like a troll account. Wow, I love watching hot, stinking garbage. One person wrote, this is like... this person I totally agree with, because this person was like, this is stupid. Guys, don't forget she's gay. That's her one defining feature as a character. Person responds, CW always has shit writing anyways, though, so I guess it doesn't matter. One person who wrote, who is gay, finds it the pandering disrespectful and disappointing of not giving the character an actual defiant moment of being a hero. Instead has to go to the social justice route of who they are and what makes them different than others. That is true, what that person wrote. I definitely agree. I mean, you look at different characters. You look at Batman. Batman is a character that I discussed it in early episodes. If I don't remember which one, it was like early episodes where I discussed how one writer that DC happened to hire said that Batman is a white, rich male who has no defining characteristics of being a hero, except being white, rich, and a straight male. And when I read that, well, one, I am white, I'm straight, and I'm not wealthy. Just in character, I'm wealthy. I sort of looked at that article and I found it rather offensive. Bruce Wayne is an interesting character. Bruce Wayne, the individual, is just as interesting as the man underneath the cowl. He suffers from guilt that he couldn't do anything to save his parents, except watch them be killed. I mean, if you've seen Joker, spoiler alert, the Wayne death scene, which I think everybody kind of knows the Wayne death scene, you watch this kid be so vulnerable and watch two people that created him, loved him, nurtured him, die in front of him. And you just watch this entire kid's future and life be taken away. Tell me that does not make it interesting to create a hero out of this one tragic moment that this kid witnessed. And he makes a vow that he will bring justice to his parents, protect the city that his parents loved and cared about. Tell me that doesn't make it interesting. Watch him transform into a hero. I mean, he could use that money to pay the police, but the police are corrupt because of the politicians and all that, which we all kind of know. In real life, politicians are useless. But what does Kate Kane have that's interesting about her? What makes her worthy to wear the bat cowl and the symbol? You can't say sexuality, you can't say her gender. You have to come up with one characteristic concept, one character history that defines her as an individual. And again, you can't say sexuality or gender. She was in the army. She was trained the highest ranking in the army to be an assassin. I guess that would be... well, she was a military officer, I guess. So, you can use that, of course, like this one defining moment where she does not want to kill. That could be like a one defining moment, but apparently writers are too lazy to come up with concepts and history and one defining arc that makes her a hero. Instead, they just want to use gender, sexuality, and her SJW lifestyle to be a hero. So, part 3 of Crisis is going to be on Tuesday, December 10th. Basically, they're through the 8th to the 10th is like back-to-back of Crisis until the 14th, which is Arrow. And it concludes with Legends of Tomorrow, which I have not seen since I think season 2. So I'm happy about a lot of the things, like Burt Ward is going to be in it. John Wesley Shipp from The Flash, and I'm more excited about seeing Ashley Scott from Birds of Prey return as Huntress, and Burt Ward being in it. I think Burt Ward is merely going to be a cameo than anything. Like, you see a photo of him, you're like, yeah, he can't fight. Like, the one photo they showed was like him walking his dog, and you're like, yeah, he ain't gonna fight. I don't think he'd fit in a Robin suit anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm not being mean about it. Saying he's fat and he's too old. I'm just saying that guy cannot fight. It's kind of interesting though. Like his first fight, Bruce Lee's first fight scene is, I think, with him, Burt Ward, in America. I think it's I forget. He said about once on Comic Book Men, he talked about a fight scene with Bruce Lee. And it was I think his first American fight scene was with him. I think it was. I forget. They're going to have a new Adam because you're going to have Brandon Routh reprise the role of Superman. So, if you go on Cosmic Book News, the first image is that the first image you will see is Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne, not Batman. But Bruce Wayne. Tom Welling, of course, appears with an axe. It's kind of interesting to see Tom Welling as Superman. I have to say, I'm excited to see him back on the farm in Smallville. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I know he once said to someone that it's going to be basically a cameo. It's one scene and he's out. Which, if it's true, I am going to be really aggravated and annoyed that the show ended after 10 seasons and 8 years later, it's he's finally coming back and it's one scene. It's fuck. The next one is Kevin Conroy, which he basically is wearing a suit, not the bat suit, just a regular business suit with 2 armor shoulder pads. I take it's basically his Kingdom Come version of Bruce Wayne, where, for those who don't remember, Bruce Wayne in it basically, I think, gets his back broken by Bane. He gets I forget what the hell happened. It was in the comic. It's revealed that Bane and other villains came to Wayne Manor, where they found out that he is Batman, and they basically beat the shit out of him, cripple him, and he's wearing this robotic thing which helps him move his arms and his body. Basically, he's crippled from what happened. I take it that's his version of Bruce Wayne he's playing. When I heard that Conroy was going to play Batman, I was in one of two things. I was excited and happy. The second was he's going to be an old man. Old man Batman. I'm surprised DC hasn't done that yet. Do a comic book series, Old Man Batman, to go up against Old Man Logan and Old Man, what was it? I think Star-Lord. They did. And I remember they did a Spider-Man one where Peter Parker's this old elderly man. It was Marvel's answer to Dark Knight Returns, where they're we're bringing Spider-Man back, and he's old, and Mary Jane's dead because she died of cancer after Peter Parker's radioactive web killed her. So I remember reading that. When I heard that, Mary Jane Watson, cancer's not funny, okay? But hearing that she died because of Peter Parker's, air quote, radioactive web caused her cancer, I was just shit. They just fucking buried him. They just went to the ultimate thing where it was just yeah, that's how he died. She died. I mean, it was kind of a sad. I mean, the cover's kind of sad because it's him holding Mary Jane's tombstone, and he's Spider-Man. He's this frail, old, elderly man wearing a spider suit. So, It's basically what you see is you see Conroy's head and the shoulder pads thing. He doesn't look like Batman. He doesn't like... He looks more like a theater actor playing Batman. Is what he basically looks like. You got Brandon Routh. And I love this Daily Planet news article in the background. And it's a big shout out to Superman Returns. Daily Planet, the planet under attack. Numerous fatalities and news office gas attack. Well, it's basically a Kingdom Come reference to Daily Planet, but the globe of it is... I love the globe and the rooftop, which basically kind of reminds me of what is it? Superman Returns. The one thing that kind of aggravates me, I will point this out, is his hair. His hair looks bad. If you ever, I don't know if anybody's noticed. If you ever look at a photo of Brandon Routh as Superman, I know most people look at the suit going like, "Oh my God, it's the Alex Ross suit." The thing that I look at is this dude's fucking hair looks bad. Now, mind you, my hair is short because it's growing because after a buzz cut, and I look at this dude's hair, and it looks like one of those cosplay hairstyles with someone, you know, who has like dark hair is trying to have gray hair and stuff. I mean, for me, it's like natural. I'm kidding. I don't have gray hair. I did when I had my hair cut and I saw like a gray hair. I was like, shit. But anyway, but if you look at Brandon Routh's hair, it looks like somebody sprayed a gray can, you know, spray hair, you know, this stuff that you use to spray, you know, to get gray hair. That's what it looks like. It looks like little minimal effort to put into it. I don't know if it's just me, but I just look at him like, that hair. And I'm not one of those people who care about people's hair. I don't really give a shit what your hair looks like. If you have a mohawk, I will look at you and go like, what were you thinking? But anyway, I take it like one part you're going to see in the scene is where you're going to see Tyler Hoechlin's Superman meet Brandon Routh's Superman. You got Lois and Iris, God help us all, but that scene. You got them on the farm. I take it they're going to meet Lois and Clark from Smallville. I take it, I guess. I don't know. You got Ruby Rose, finally. The last image is Ruby Rose, who looks like a robot. Robot Rose. In the one scene where she's just looking off somewhere in the Batcave, trying to have her moment, her dramatic moment, the scene. She's trying to get the scene in there. So, I don't know what to think of the show. I look forward to it. I'm not going to skip it. I'm going to watch it. I just am one of those people who kind of, you know, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to see what happens. Now, the next story article, this is going to come up with conspiracies and theories of stuff. Henry Cavill, another Superman. One Superman I really want to see come back to the big screen. Speaks about Superman, saying he speaks about what's going on with Superman and says in a typical Man of Steel fashion he's going to fight for the role. The cape is in the closet, Cavill tells Man of Steel. It's still mine. I'm not going to sit quietly in the darkness as all the stuff is going on. I'm not going to give up on the role. There's a lot I have to give to Superman yet. A lot of storytelling to do. A lot of real, true depths to the honest of the character. I wasn't get into what I know and reflecting the comic books. That's important to me. But there's a lot of justice to be done for Superman. The status is, you'll see. I think Cavill, he's one of those people that's, I think, with Affleck, Goodell, and Momoa, Fisher, about releasing the Snyder Cut. I think he's still with that camp. I'm sure he is. Because Zack Snyder posted something recently. When this article popped up, I clicked on the Snyder article. Snyder posted a picture of Superman, Henry Cavill, and the one scene where he saves the oil rig workers. And one scene I've never seen before is where it has the words, "He has yet to rise." I believe in this theory. Mind you, I am into conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, for those who don't know. I believe with Henry Cavill saying this, and all of a sudden this Snyder release, a Snyder Cut stuff coming out with Ben Affleck tweeting about it with the hashtag, and Gal Gadot and Ray Fisher, Momoa, of course, starting the fire. And all this. I think that Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder are going to do a Superman film. And it's one of these things I wanted to discuss on the show. Let me get a drink of water real quick and we'll talk about it. So, anyway, I think that this release of Snyder Cut, which I talked about on for a short while on yesterday's show, where I said that the Snyder Cut film might open the door for the Ayer director's version of Suicide Squad, which for those who don't know, for those who joined the show and listening, who are new, hi. I am not the biggest Suicide Squad fan. There's like review episodes I talked about Suicide Squad, and I talked about Jared Leto's Joker before the Jared Leto's article story of him trying to stop Joker came out and all this. And I did a commentary watching Suicide Squad for the first time since I got it on Blu-ray. And that was like a while back when the DVD Blu-ray came out after the movie was released in theaters and all that. I am not the biggest Suicide Squad fan. But I will give the possibility of a David Ayer cut version, his true version. I have a hard time believing that the one that we all saw is the one that he's like, this is my version of the film, I approved it, I support it, it is 100% mine. I have a hard time believing that. I mean, the guy who wrote fucking Training Day cannot stand with this film. There's no possible way at all that he could be like, I support this film 110%, with Harley Quinn getting shocked with psychedelic crazy ass shit scenes. There is no way that Training Day writer wrote this. No way. So, if there is the true definitive David Ayer version that he talked about, I think once he talked about it on Twitter, I will give it the benefit of the doubt. I will watch it. I am not going to enjoy the Jared Leto scenes. If there's possibility more scenes, God help us all. I just can't sit through it. But anyway, regarding to all the stuff going on, I'm sorry, I'm reading the article. Regarding with all the stuff going on, back in summer, while at Comic-Con, DC insiders filled a lot of people in and talking about J.J. Abrams taking both Superman and Green Lantern. The person who wrote the article has been told that J.J. Abrams was wanting to recast a younger Superman, and that some sort of DCE reboot is underway involving Matt Reeves as the Batman, Robert Pattinson, as well James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Worth mentioning that Abrams and Reeves are best friends. Also, Abrams and his producer wife are responsible for getting Ann Serafino's new gig new gig as the WB CEO. So Abrams is in deep with Warner Brothers. He got Ann Serafino as the new WB CEO. So this is going to be like an uphill battle for Henry Cavill as Superman, because he's one man going up against a bunch of people with clicks, connections, all these things. I will say this: I have not really enjoyed Abrams' run on Star Wars. For those who know, I seen Star Wars: The Force Awakens in theaters. I really didn't go all out. I didn't go, gaga over Star Wars. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fanatic. I've seen the new Star Wars theme park that they did in Disney, and it looks boring as fuck, in my opinion. I'd rather go to Six Flags over Texas than go to Disneyland or Disney World or wherever the hell that park is at. So, and mind you, we also talked about in the show about this article, the article where Disney did a test screening where it did not turn out great for Star Wars. I mean, they did like 3 different versions, and the one that came out that most people liked in the test screening was the George Lucas one. Of course, people are going to like George Lucas. If George Lucas's name is attached to a Star Wars thing, people will eat that shit alive. They will eat it up. They will go like, this guy's back, he's running Star Wars, we're going to go see it. So, for me, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to be excited about a Superman reboot. I mean, Superman's been rebooted like 1,001 times. I mean, there's a new Superman show that's in the works with Tyler Hoechlin playing Superman with the actress that played Superman. There's also been in store for Brandon Routh on HBO Max following his Kingdom Come Superman appearance, where he might play Superman again. So, there's been a lot of things that's been going on with Superman. People just want a Superman movie, a movie that will continue on with the story. They don't want a reboot. I'm sorry. I don't want to see another Superman reboot. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. Like, I wrote this funny story idea where it's about stormtroopers, where the troopers got tired of fucking fighting, losing every battle, where they're just like, fuck this shit, we're out of here. Like, I would love to be a stormtrooper. I will admit, I love the stormtroopers. Like, I think that was like the one thing as a kid with Star Wars I just loved was seeing the stormtroopers, and there's like one stormtrooper who hits his head in a Star Wars film. Like, you have Darth Vader walking with the stormtroopers, all of a sudden one stormtrooper hits his head on the on the ship. Where I was just like, that is funny. I would love to see a stormtrooper movie, to be quite honest, like a comedy stormtrooper movie. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this movie called Delta Force with Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall, where they play like 3 volunteer soldiers. And like they get recruited by the army general, and they all, they accidentally get let out of the plane. And they think they land in Afghanistan, but they land in Mexico. And they had to fight they had to fight this cartel group, which is led by Danny Trejo. It is a fucking funny movie. I love this movie. I would love to see like a Star Wars trooper movie where 3 stormtroopers get dumped off somewhere, and they had to like end up protecting this village. They don't even know who they are, and they had to like fight this bandits or something. And they just don't know what they're doing. I don't know. It'd be something goofy. So anyway. Anyway. I would love to see Cavill come back as Superman. I mean, I will say this. I'm always off topic when I talk about stuff. Like, I will, 1 minute talk about something, and next I'll talk about something else. So, bear with me. So, imagine, the Snyder Cut film comes out. And it's a hit. People love it. People want to see more of it. This would be the big opening for WB if it's a hit. I'm not gonna be on 100% of saying this movie's gonna be a hit. It's gonna be I can't wait to see more of it, because none of us know if it's a hit or not. I mean, we've seen the images. We all man, that looks really cool. Batman throws a dude's head through a brick wall, about to rip his arm off. That is awesome. That version of Batman I miss. I'll go out and say it. I miss the Ben Affleck Batman. This older, grizzled Batman who's just fucking pissed at everybody. Goes to a warehouse, throws a crate at a dude where he lands against a wall and all you see is a smear of blood. He just breaks the dude's arm. Punches the shit out of a dude, and a guy has to stop him by shooting him in the back of the head, where the bullet just, ricochets off the cowl, and Batman just beats the shit out of him. Throws one dude against a wall. Stabs a dude against a wall. I mean, that is a Batman right there. That is the Batman. That is a dude who just I had it with fucking criminals. So. I think, honestly, that Cavill's on the belief that, I'm not going to say, he's, saying it, but it's my opinion. I believe that Cavill believes that Snyder's cut will come out. People will see it. People are going to want to see what happens after this Justice League film. And Warner Brothers will have to be on the point of okay, should we continue with this or should we go with this direction? Where, I mean, they could do, the Reeves, Abrams, DC films with Gunn and all that, but they could also do the Snyder films. They could do it for HBO Max, where they'd be okay, you want to see the Snyder DC films? It's on HBO Max. Here's the Reeves and Abrams and Gunn's DC films. You'd see them in theaters. I mean, this would be a great thing for DC and Warner Brothers. I mean, they will get the best of both worlds. People will subscribe to the HBO Max to see new DC films and new DC shows. For me, I'm going to be one of those people who are going to be fucking pissed to be man, I just spent $7.99 for DC Universe. I'm going to be one of those people who are I'm pissed. I've lost it. I am mad. And I'm not going to take it anymore. But I would buy it. I would buy HBO Max and be you want to see the rest of the Snyder films? They're right there. I'll be take my money. But, I mean, that's the thing about, subscription streaming services, where you're always on the path of man, where the fuck do I go? I haven't gotten the Disney Plus. I will probably get it once all the Marvel shows come out, and then I'll watch it. The Mandalorian is not reeling me in to see it. Even though I saw the trailer of it, I'm man, this looks pretty good. Boba Fett? It's not Boba Fett, but it's the Mandalorian. I forget what the fuck they call him. I think it's Boba Fett, or Silver Boba Fett. But I would love to see the movie Lady and the Tramp. I'll admit that looks really good, but I'm just not being reeled in. Once the first article of it came out where they mess with the Simpsons stuff where they like, I think like they edited the Simpsons stuff where they cut out the entire scenes where it looks like a movie theater stuff, where people got pissed because it's like they took out all the funny background stuff from the Simpsons. Apparently Disney's never seen Simpsons, so for me, I think I'm not 100% on board with Disney Plus. Like, my uncle, who is a diehard Marvel Star Wars fan, got it, and he said it's great. But I am not a Disney fan. I really don't care for Disney. So, speaking of Marvel, I have to mention, once you mention Disney, it's like, speaking of Marvel, they released new concept art of Zombie Captain America and Iron Man and Steve Rogers for What If. Marvel's also canceled the Runaways. Again, not surprised by it. I never seen the Runaways. I mean, I heard the band Runaways. But I never really cared for it. Like, they canceled, I think, Cloak and Dagger, which didn't really look that good to begin with. But this article, of course, came out with Kirsten Stewart. Oh, this one's an old one where she talks about Marvel wouldn't cast her because she's gay. But there's also a rumor, like this article, where Joss Whedon revealed a rumor that Kirsten Stewart was rumored to play Batgirl. Ugh. Would you imagine how fucked up that would be? Pattinson's Batman, all of a sudden you have Kirsten Stewart as Batgirl. I think that was like rumored to the point where they were like going to do a Batgirl movie tied in with the DC Extended Universe before Affleck left Batman and all that. So anyway, Disney's plus What If, the animated Marvel series, which will have Zombies, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America, zombie version, Steve Rogers in the first Iron Man suit. A look at Steve Rogers if you didn't get the super soldier serum, and T'Challa as Star-Lord. I will admit, the zombie Captain America looks pretty fucking cool. Cool to a point where I'd probably get that tattooed. If I ever had to get like a zombie tattoo, I'd be like, get the zombie Captain America. That looks really cool. It looks pretty fucking cool. I will admit, I would get Disney Plus if that's a movie, a zombie Captain America movie. I'd be like, take my money, dude. For 1 month only. Captain America as Iron Man looks, it's basically like the, what was it? Jeff Bridges' character. The armor, Jeff Bridges, Iron Maiden, I think is what it is. I forget. I think that's what it is. Like, it's the Jeff Bridges iron suit from Iron Man 1. Just a military color and a white star. That is basically what it is. Steve Rogers, it's an animated version of Chris Evans. T'Challa as Star-Lord. It looks okay. Then you got, what's her name? Steve Rogers' lady, as Peggy Carter as Captain Carter. Captain Britain, basically. I will admit, like, it looks pretty cool. Like, you got the voice cast of Michael B. Jordan coming back as Killmonger, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Josh Brolin as Thanos, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner the Hulk, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Haley Atwell as Agent Peggy Carter, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, Karen Gillan as Nebula. You got Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. You got Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Okay, I'll see it. I like Ant-Man. Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. Neil McDuff as Dum Dum Dugan. Neil McDuff was in a show I watched recently. It's a really good show. It's a show called Boomtown. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it. It's like an old NBC show, Boomtown. He plays a prosecutor who handles cases in Los Angeles, and you had the Wahlberg fella, not Mark Wahlberg, the other Wahlberg. He plays a cop, a detective, and it was one of those shows that did not last long. It was like one of those good shows that it really didn't belong on NBC. Like, it belonged on a network like TNT or something. It's one of those shows. It's like Hannibal. It's those shows that needs a mature audience network. Like Showtime, TNT, or HBO. But he's in one show that is on Paramount Network. It has Kevin Costner. It's called Yellowstone. And he's good at that show. Yellowstone, for those who've never seen it, it's like it's a really good show. It's about Yellowstone follows the Dutton family led by John Dutton, played by Kevin Costner, who controls the largest ranch in the United States. The ranch is under constant attack by its borders, its land developers, Indian reservation, and the United States of America's national park. And it is a really good fucking show. It is like one of those shows that it has this, like, it's like a novel story, and it hooks you in. Like, I was like hooked in for like the first season. I'm like, this is really fucking good. And anything with Kevin Costner in it, I will watch it. I will watch that fucking ocean film he was in, which really wasn't a really good film, but I'll watch it. But if you build it, he will come. Fields of Dreams. I love that movie, for those who've never seen it. I cried at the ending of that film. It was a really good film. For those who've never seen Fields of Dreams, if you really want to understand me as an individual, that is a film that you have to watch. It is a really good film. I cried at the ending, because the ending was like so good. He creates this baseball field. He hears this voice saying, "If you build it, he will come." And he builds this baseball field out of his cornfield. He has this giant cornfield, and he plows his corn to build this baseball field. And all of a sudden, one ghost comes out, and it's Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe Jackson is like one of the greatest outfielders in Major League Baseball history, along with the greatest American League Baseball team in history, the 1919 White Sox. And they were a team that got banned from Major League Baseball because they were accused of throwing the World Series to make money from gamblers. Because back in 1919, they didn't have this multi-million-dollar contract to make money. Like, these guys played baseball in the off-season. They had to get side jobs to take care of their family. They didn't get money, and it didn't help much that they had a cheap-ass owner who wouldn't pay them money. To the point where when they won the American League Championship, they got flat champagne. I don't know if it's true, but, you know, it was in the movie 8 Men Out, which is a good film, by the way. So, they were accused of throwing the World Series by their owner, the owner of the team. And they were sent to trial, and they were proven innocent, that they didn't throw the World Series. But even though they were proven innocent, they were banned from Major League Baseball. They can never be in the Hall of Fame, which is a travesty because now you have Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, Jason Giambi, a lot of the players that done steroids, Barry Bonds, who did steroids, who admitted that, yeah, we did steroids, we hit home runs and stuff. But, Pete Rose, of course, is banned from the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose gambled. He was a manager. He bet. It's like everybody bets. Everyone gambles. I mean, I don't. But anyway, in the film Fields of Dreams, he builds the baseball field, and you have the 1919 White Sox show up, and he here's another voice. Ease his pain, and he brings James Earl Jones, Darth Vader, to watch the White Sox. I love the James Earl Jones scene. You have to watch it. So he gets James Earl Jones, and he meets this hitchhiker, which is revealed to be, oh shit, what's his name? Moonlight Graham. So they meet Moonlight Graham, who is, a kid who never played, he's a kid who played baseball. So they meet, Moonlight Graham plays with the White Sox and all that. So they meet the brother. The brother-in-law to Kevin Costner's wife. I'm reviewing this fucking film. I just realized I am giving away this film. And I'm talking about it, but I love this film. I can't help it. I have to talk about it. I just realized I am giving away the story of this film. So, I can't help it. Anyway, they meet the brother. The brother is trying to help Kevin Costner. Like, listen, you're going to lose your house. You built this baseball field. And the brother doesn't believe that they see these ghosts playing on the field. So, and the fun fact about it is, for this film, I will give away this fun fact. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon play extras in that film as two baseball players. So, the brother is like, listen, you don't understand. You're not, you're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your farm. And all of a sudden they get into a struggle. And the daughter who's eating a hot dog falls off the seats and stuff. And she's passed out and she choked on her hot dog. And Moonlight Graham has to decide, like, play the game or help the daughter. So Moonlight Graham gives up playing baseball to save this girl. So he saves this girl. And he, everybody's happy that what he did. And he walks off the field and stuff. And Shoeless Joe goes, hey kid, good game. And he disappears in the cornfield. And the brother sees the players and stuff. And he helps. He goes like, don't get rid of this field or farm. And he helps them, get the farm and stuff. So, after all that, it's dark. After the long game. And Kevin Costner sees one catcher taking off his equipment and stuff, and it's his father, who was a baseball player. And Costner's whole story is he never liked baseball because his father, tried to force him to play baseball. And his father is younger than him. And it's an amazing scene because he is stunned that his dad is one of the ghosts that are playing the baseball. And they meet, and the father doesn't know who the son is. The son knows who he is. And before he walks away, Kevin Costner goes, Dad, do you want to play catch? And that's the whole point of the story, is he built this field to have this moment to play catch. And it's a beautiful ending. The film ends with them playing catch and people discovering the baseball field. And that's the ending of the film. That is the one moment in the movie I just was like, man, this is a fucking good movie. A good moment. because everybody always talks about Rudy, like, you know, Rudy. And it's like, Rudy's a boring movie. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people who love it, but I really like that movie. And it ends perfectly and stuff. So it's a good movie. And anyway, Neil McDuff plays in Yellowstone. That's the show Costner's in, Yellowstone. He plays a jerk. So he's always good at playing a jerk. So Dominic Cooper will return as Howard Stark, which I'm excited about because he was in the Peggy Carter show, Agent Carter, which is like one show that, again, good show, but canceled early. Sean Gunn as Kralligan, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, Lady Thor, Takehi Wadi, I guess his name is Korg. Toby Jones as Armin Zolo. Toby Jones was like one actor I was hoping that would play Penguin. I was really hoping for that. Like, now they got like Colin Farrell. I'm kind of for it. Jeff Goldblum is returning as Grand Master, and Michael Rooker as Yondu from Guardians. You notice that they don't have the Guardians of the Galaxy cast. Like, you have Yondu, Michael Rooker, but you don't have Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, the other Chris, not Hemsworth, and not Chris Evans, but the other. The guy from Parks and Rec. I forget his name, sadly. And you don't have Groot, man. You don't have Groot. But anyway, I'm more excited about seeing what they do with Guardians 3. Like, that's one thing I noticed. Like, they don't have Guardians in it. I mean, you have T'Challa as Star-Lord from Guardians, so. Anyway, the Marvel What If. I honestly look forward to it. Like, I wish DC would do, like, the Elseworld stuff. Like, I know that they did the Elseworld thing in the CW, but I mean the actual Elseworld story. Like, the Gotham by Gaslight Elseworld. I mean, they did Gotham by Gaslight, and they're doing Red Sun, but I would love to see them do more Elseworld stuff. Like, they did, like, the Gods and Monsters for Justice League, and it wasn't bad. It was really interesting, like, seeing Batman be a vampire. Like, I would love to see the Batman Dracula trilogy as animated films, especially Bloodstorm. Or Blood Rain. I forget which one it is. I think it's Bloodstorm. But anyway, they released the new trailer to... This has been out for a while. The trailer for Harley Quinn's TV show with Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory doing the voice of Harley Quinn. And Alan Tudnik doing Joker and Clayface. I seen the trailer, and there's like some F-bombs dropped in it. There's some adult animated stuff. I look forward to seeing it. I'll admit, like, I look forward to seeing where they go with Harley Quinn. Like, I would love to see them do a Batman animated series. I would love to see them go, like, do a rated R Batman animated series. Like, I would love to see them go out for that one. But I look forward to seeing this, especially they got, like, Batman, the Brave and the Bold the voice actor doing Batman It looks really cool. And like one thing I noticed, like I'll admit, like the show looks interesting because it's told a different side of the superhero life and villain's life. Like they're not all about trying to go after Gotham. They're sort of more laid back. Like, yeah, this is what we do. Like I love the one part where in the beginning of the trailer they bleep out what one villain calls Wonder Woman. And I was like laughing hysterically because I'm like, finally somebody said it. It's just let's take a look. I forget what they call her. What they call Wonder Woman. It's definitely not a bitch because if they said that, they would have. Because I mean, they got away with saying like the F word, like fuck, on the show. Let's see where I can find it. Here it is. Now, I don't know what they called her. Called Wonder Woman, Dr. Psycho.
That really hurt you. Holy.
I will say this. I think Dr. Light in the show called Wonder Woman a cunt in the show. I think that's what he called her. Like, that is more below the belt than the word bitch. Ouch. But I love Wonder Woman's expression of it, like...
That really hurt you.
Her expression was like, is that what everybody thinks of me? I will admit, her expression was pretty damn funny. But the one thing I noticed, and I paused it right on her expression. I gotta take a photo of that. That's really good. It's just... it's just... So, one thing I have to point out in this show is that the animation looks actually better than Young Justice. I know there's some people going like, you're crazy about that. No. If you do a side-by-side profile, this animation of Harley Quinn actually looks better than the Young Justice one, in my opinion. It's my opinion, mind you. But I really like it. I really like this animation style. It looks really organic, I guess is the term. The Joker looks pretty cool in it. He looks like if Bruce Campbell was the Joker. He kind of looks like, you know. But I will admit, watching the trailer of it, I would watch the show before I would watch Birds of Prey. It looks good. I can't wait to see what they do with it, especially with they, of course, having Catwoman appear in it, and they're gonna have Batman appear in it. I can't wait to see what they do. So. One thing that's I couldn't help but laugh at this one article where it says Elizabeth Banks is proud of Charlie's Angels because it bombed at the box office. Yep. I don't know how you'd go saying that with, like, proud face of, like, I'm proud of the way this film turned out, even though it completely flopped at the box office. I am proud of it. So one thing I want to talk about next, and we will go on a quick break, and we will come back after this song. Let me pick out a song real quick. I want to talk about this one when we come back. Marvel's comics writer Zoe Quinn claims to have been on suicide watch and barely functional following the criticism regarding Alan Holloway's suicide. And I really want to talk about this this article and Zoe Quinn's stupidity of it. So let me find a song. I'm looking for a song, by the way. I'll play this one. It's a classic, so there you go. And I'll be right back. This is the Smallville theme song. This is Save Me by Remy Zero. I watched this one documentary film. I want to talk about this one real quick. I watched this film called Missing 411, which is based on the disappearances of people in national parks, which is a novel I think they did. And there's it was like they did like several novels, and they did like this documentary film, and it's on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It's free on YouTube. Like, it has like, you have to like sign in because it's a very mature documentary. Like, they cover like really serious, dark topics such as missing people and national parks and woods, and like, it's crazy, like crazy shit that happened. Like a lot of people always say, like, joke, like I'm paranoid about parks, national parks and stuff, and going into the woods. I'll send you a link to it. It's a good documentary, and it covers a lot of topics. But one case that freaked me out was the first case that they talk about, which is I forget the kid's name, sadly. Like this little kid was like with his parents and his grandpa, his great grandpa, I think. And the grandpa, the entire people, the people, and even the parents, kind of, especially the mom of I understand the grandma, the mom of the dad of the kid, but they threw this old man under the bus of he was in his trailer because the man had like a trailer camper with him. But when he came back, the kid, poof, disappeared. It's weird how these people disappeared, and some of them are found at trails where people searched, and some are found with no clothes on, with no fucking memory of what happened and stuff. It is the most insane thing, and they did a sequel to the film Missing 411 called Missing 411 The Hunted, which is, I seen the trailer of it. This movie was freaky. They go into the subjects of cryptozoic creatures in the woods and stuff. It is pretty messed up. I really want to see this film. This film came out this year, and it's totally flew under the radar and stuff. And this is one film I highly, Missing 411 is one documentary I highly recommend people to go see, because this is a bizarre cases. There's tons and tons and tons of cases of these stories. And I know there's going to be some people who are going to be you're a conspiracy theorist. You're these there's got to be reasons why they disappeared. These are small kids in this documentary that is about them that disappeared. Small kids. And they were found. One was found dead in the woods. 2 were never found. The only thing that was found of the second kid that is the subject of this documentary is his clothes. They never found the body. They don't know where this kid went. They only found his shoes, pants, and sweater that he was wearing. They don't know where this kid went. A lot of them said a mountain lion probably got him. But if a mountain lion got this kid, his whole clothes would be shredded. His shoes would be the only thing found. And the first kid, they never found him. They don't know where this kid went. He just disappeared, vanished off the face of the earth. So this documentary is something that I recommend people to go see, because there is a lot of weird shit going on in the woods and campgrounds and national parks. I'm not, fear-mongering people by saying never go to the national parks, but if you go to the parks, make sure your kids are close with you at all times, because this is weird shit going on. And there's been people that have been missing. There was hundreds of people that went missing in a homeless shelter during the hurricane. They vanished, never to be found. And there was one news article story. I think YouTube took the video down. I don't know if they did. But a homeless man with his dog was outside a shelter during the hurricane storms. And the reporter's like, "Why are you out here?" And he said to the reporter, "They're killing everyone in there. They're taking everyone and killing them." And what he meant by it was people who are homeless like him are being taken away and killed. I don't know if it was, him on, being schizophrenic, but he looked very coherent about what was going on. But anyway, people who go missing is a bizarre cases. Like, I remember I walked into the store and there's like these missing people posters, and I always look at them when I walk past them. I'm like, I don't know what happened to them. And it's always bizarre cases. Like, some of them just vanish. Some of them are, people disregard a lot of these missing people as runaways. They just ran away from home. They didn't want to be at home, so they ran away. But the point I'm getting at with this missing 411 is these people these kids, and some of them are adults, are with other people and they just disappear. They just are gone. No one knows what happened to them. Like, there's this one story in this documentary that they cover where this kid is walking with his guardian after fishing. And the guardian's like leading the path and, making sure the kid knows where they're going, following him. And they said the guardian turned around and the kid was just gone. He didn't even hear the kid run away the other direction. He didn't even hear the kid scream or yell for help. This kid just vanished. So this documentary, I just highly recommend for anybody to see, because this is a epidemic that has never been discussed, never been an open subject. I mean, we know more about missing stolen vehicles, stolen items that are on record more than we know about kids disappearing. So, the book is hard to find, David Paulides' book, because it's an independent book that got released and it became such a huge discussion that it's hard to find a book. But they made the documentary, and it covers like 4 cases. But it should be a TV show, in my opinion, to cover more cases, because there are hundreds of thousands of people disappearing. I mean, they even talk about like the mountain lion going after the one kid. There's only been on record 14 mountain lion attacks. 14. And they show the dad who has this missing kid's clothes and shoes, shows it like there was no mountain lion attacks. If there was a mountain lion attack, it would go for the stomach or the shoulder to drag the kid. But there's no teeth marks, there's no claw marks. It's just like this kid got taken. So this documentary I highly, highly recommend to see, because this is a really well presented documentary. It was a bit short documentary, but it was on like a Kickstarter campaign. It's like 98 minutes. It's a bit short, but it should have been longer. It should have been longer and a detail about this stuff, but it's a good documentary. I highly recommend it. Missing 411. They released a sequel, Missing 411: The Hunted, where it's about hunters who have disappeared from hunters who have been disappearing from North America's wildlands for hundreds of years, and many without leaving a trace. Former police detective David Paulides presents haunting true stories of the people who disappeared. Haunting true stories of hunters experiencing unexplainable things, and these cases are most difficult, defy common sense, challenging controversial wisdom, and remain unexplained. So, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this documentary. I was going to talk about it in the opening of the show, and it just poof vanished out of my mind, and I just wanted to talk about it real quick. So, it's Good documentary, Missing 411. Anyway, let's get to the crazy story. I might try to find that video of that man telling the reporter about the shelter and stuff, so I will find it. I think YouTube took it off. I think after the whole Parkland shooting thing and conspiracy theories, YouTube sort of went through a purge of getting rid of conspiracy theory stuff, which is a shame because you always have to open your mind to something you can't explain. So let's talk about Zoe Quinn. Marvel and IDW's writer Zoe Quinn, who has most recently been under the center of controversy surrounding her public naming, shaming, and subsequent suicide of Night in the Woods developer Alan Hollowick, recently claimed on Twitter that the fallout of the controversy led her being placed on suicide watch and she's been barely functional. I like to use the quotes, barely functional. This is a woman who released a statement, a perfectly coherent statement of her entire narrative of victimhood. And this is basically like every fucking person of today. Like they make accusations of something and it's really falls on them. They will do the victimhood shaming of I'm the victim. How dare you? How dare you accuse me of being the accuser when I'm the victim? So she had a perfect time being functional, releasing a statement. On November 10th, Quinn took a personal leave, took to her personal Twitter account and openly vent about said fallout, beginning with the statements of alleging that critics were flooding my every tweet with constant harassment, trying to push me to suicide, though no evidence of specific examples were presented. Everyone presented evidence of what Zoe Quinn done to Alec Hollowick. Hollowick, I think is his name. I mean, here's the thing. When you're accused of something, you go to authorities. You don't go to Twitter by shaming the person. You go to authorities if you're accused of something. With her Twitter, she wrote, God, the depravity of creeps on here never ceases to chip away my faith in humanity, Quinn wrote. The hypocrisy of flooding my every tweet with constant harassment, trying to push me to suicide because you blame his suicide on me, speaking up about my abuser after 8 years of suffering in silence, with other victims who couldn't speak up, is just fucking disgusting. And mind you, this is the woman who, after going after this guy, causing this guy to commit suicide, she was later hired by DC Comics to write something, I think Deathbringer or something, for DC Comics. Like, they rewarded this woman of doing this. It's like, I mean, I know Dan Didio has a few screws loose in his dome piece, and he refuses to tighten that shit down because he just doesn't want to listen to everybody around him being like, are you sure about this? So Quinn attempts to downplay her own actions by turning the accusations on her critics, stating that if her accuser believed her words led to Holloway's suicide, then they were admitting that you're trying to kill me with full-on harassment. Ironically, the statement said none of her critics gave a shit about Holloway. So this woman just goes on to ranting about her Twitter account. I mean, mind you, this is the woman who created the fucking video game about depression and stuff. Then she went on to like criticize the Joker film by stating that it, like she went from like, accusing the Joker film of being victimizing white men in the Joker film, like stating that the Joker film would like create more violence and stuff. Like she was like one of those people who blew the horn on it, like then the news media jumped on board and stuff. Like now here's one thing she wrote. Despite her Twitter form, Quinn has not mentioned a Patreon account that she has not updated over a year for her failed Kickstarter project. Kickstarted in the butt some comic she failed to like raise money on. She has not updated her Kickstarter account over a year and has yet to release, despite raising $85,000 of her project to be released in 2017. So this chick raised money for her project, her failed Kickstarter project, Kickstarted in the Butt, a Chuck Tangle digital adventure. It was supposed to be out in 2017. 2 years later, it is not out, and there's no update over the project. So she basically took $85,000 and just poof, took off with it. Anyway, she proceeds to go on her demand that those who keep bringing up the controversy stop pissing on Holloway's grave, you ghouls, and stating that she is not going to talk about it again, as the discord has allegedly led her barely functional to the point being unable to take care of the basic biological needs. I don't even know what the fuck that even means. So basically she just goes on playing the victim of something she did. I mean, she got rewarded to do a DC comic. Took $85,000 from a project she never even released. Working with IDW, working with Marvel. Basically, she just is, how do I put the term? Heartless. I mean, here's the thing. You're how is it? You caused this guy to lose his job, his friends, his family turning on him, killing himself, and when people call you out for it, you play victim, which is basically the typical thing. The typical defense of any person. So, Henry Cavill news popped up. Henry Cavill is rumored for Black Adam 2 with Dwayne Johnson. New images of Joe Manganiello's Snyder Cut film have been released. Hope for Henry Cavill back as Superman may lie with Dwayne Johnson and Black Adam 2, according to a rumor. Grace Randolph, who's known to getting some things right, tweeted that I'm hearing Superman won't show up in won't show up until Black Adam 2, but The Rock does want that fight. He wants Henry Cavill, of course, because Danny reps him. The term Danny is referring to Danny Garcia, former wife and business partner, manager, co-founder of Johnson's Seven Bucks production company, and she is, along with The Rock, her and The Rock produced Shazam. Back in 2017, Cavill signed with Danny Garcia. She said a standalone Superman movie was happening and that big things are planned for Henry. So we might see Henry Cavill back as Superman. Henry Cavill was supposed to do a cameo for Shazam, but it didn't happen. Reports the reason was that Garcia was playing hardball with Warner Brothers over getting Henry signed to a new contract. So he might be coming back. That's going to be interesting. Anyway, it's time to... Oh, yeah, I gotta find that fucking video. I'm gonna find a video, then we're gonna have to wrap up the podcast, because I got other things to do. Gotta get the other blanket out of the dryer that I washed, so... It's in the dryer. It's been dried, so I just have to get it out. Let's see. I'm looking for it, by the way, so... I think I found it. I think this is it. Hundreds of homeless people disappeared into the thin air. I think this is it. I think I found it. Oh, there's a video of a dude reading an article and stuff. Huh. I guess they took it off. Let's see. I did... I got a notification on Twitter. Let's see. More people. Yeah, I did hear about the Holiday in the Park. Six Flags is doing their Holiday in the Park. I look forward to seeing what they do. I remember the last time I went to like Holiday in the Park. It was it was pretty cold. I look forward to seeing. I look more forward to next year of the Catwoman ride, Catwoman Whip. I look forward to that ride. So, anyway, the new trailer of the movie Cats was released, but unleashed a wave of memes. I have to tell you, the movie Cats, the new trailer of it, I would love to see actual cats watch this video, because the Cats movie, I mean, they bring in catnip, which is like in a vodka, not in a martini shaker. It looks pretty creepy. Like, it has like a diamond glowing, like diamond shining catnip martini shaker, which my cat, Lola would love. But I seen part of the trailer of Cats movie, and it looks fucking creepy. It just looks really, really, really creepy. Like, it is a creepy looking film. Like, all you see is like human faces on like cats' bodies, and it's like really creeps you out a bit. So, anyway, time to wrap up the podcast episode. This has been a good episode. I really enjoyed this podcast. For those who dropped in and listened and stuff, thank you so much for listening. It's been a fun one. Like, the Monday one was kind of slow. It was like, Mondays are, are slow days, because once, you're in the weekend, you're like, yes, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to go crazy and do wacky things on the weekend. But you're like celebrating, you're enjoying, you're having fun and all that. And all of a sudden, like, Monday comes in, you're like, oh man, I don't even know what to. I'm so glad it's Monday. I don't even know what to do with myself. It's a Cosby joke, so. So, I mean, I enjoyed. Usually Tuesdays, I usually like kickstart everything and get going and stuff. Then I'm just like ready for the weekend. But anyway, yeah. So I really enjoyed this episode. The film, if you're wondering what film I was talking about, it was about cats, and there's a documentary I saw called Missing 411. It's a good documentary. If you're ever wondering what other stuff is, I think they have a website where they cover like every missing person case, where they discuss things. But a lot of these cases are really creepy and really bizarre. Like, when I first heard of it, like people disappearing in the woods, I thought of like, oh man, Blair Witch Project's real. But they didn't have, it's so weird though, like people disappear and it's like, and they have like cell phones and camera, like you think like they would record something, but I don't think they did. But anyway, Missing 411 is the documentary. It's a really good documentary. I, again, highly recommend it. Really dig deep into this. I recommend it because I dig deep into these type of cases because I always want to figure out the answer to the question of what happened. Where do these people go? And a lot of them who went missing, like they interviewed one guy who disappeared as a kid, and they interview him, and he's like, I don't remember what happened. I don't know how I got this scratch on my face. I don't know how I ended up where I was found. Mr. Detective, I'm Batman. So, I mean, a lot of these cases are really, really fascinating and interesting to read about and online, and especially the documentary is like really good. And they interview the parents of the one kid, which is, I don't know what to think. Like, I'm sort of like left off. I don't want to make accusations against them, but they know something. They just don't want to say it. And especially the one guy they interview, who's friends with the great grandpa, he's hiding something. Like, they don't press him for information and details. So, and the grandpa sort of has like this attitude of like, well, you know, he disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. Attitude. And it's always like the first case, you know what happened. They just don't press it. The second one baffles me. Like, just completely baffles me as a person. Like, this kid disappeared and all they found was his clothes. You know, so anyway, Missing 411 is the film. I can't tell you enough how I recommend this film. It's a great documentary. I really want to see the sequel, except you have to buy the sequel. Rent or buy the sequel. I'm like, oh shit, I really want to see that. I want to see it, especially with them having the guy who wrote the novel involved in the documentary. He wasn't involved much in the second one. You hear him do interviews with Coast to Coast AM, which is a really great show. It's a really good conspiracy show. So anyway, I'm Josh. This is the podcast. And anyway, thank you so much for listening. We will be back for the next episode. I guess I will talk about missing people cases and stuff. I really can't wait to talk about it. So tomorrow we'll discuss it and we'll talk about other conspiracy theories and stuff. So thank you so much for listening. I guess that's it. So bye.